Come on. Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
Alright, once again we are on. He is the great Mike Steph. I am the Mojo King. Our guest will be introduced in a moment. This is Hidden Gems Football, brought to you by the 19 Media Group and sponsored by Prize Picks. Our guest is Steve Dunndealz Vela. Actually, one of my oldest friends. Friend of the show. Also, I still have scars from him injuring me in the schoolyard. You thought I forgot, didn't you? Now that I've done a proper introduction to my buddy, I kick it over to Mike Steph so he can talk about the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm not even going to lie. After that introduction, I'm more intrigued about how did you get this injury that you just spoke on and just blew him up on worldwide YouTube. But you know what? I'm gonna let friends be friends, let history be history, and I'll be talking about recent history, which is this past Sunday, the AFC Championship game between the Buffalo Bills and the Chiefs, which unfortunately for some had the same outcome that the last four meetings in the playoffs have had, and that would be the Chiefs coming out victorious. But there's an elephant in the room that I would be remiss if I didn't mention. There's a lot of talk about conspiracy theories. There's a lot of talk about, the game being rigged. Probably not something I should be mentioning right now, considering a lot of things that was going to be on tap this episode. But anyway, this past Sunday, if the NFL was hoping to quiet the narrative that the Chiefs were getting favorable calls from the referee, I guess that's going to have to wait for another 2 weeks into the Super Bowl. Now, there's two plays in particular I'm going to focus in on. First and foremost would be the play that happened early in the fourth quarter with the Bills driving up 22-21 with a chance to actually take a stronghold, not stranglehold, but stronghold on the game. And Josh Allen attempted a quarterback sneak on 4th and 1, and he didn't get it. At least that's what the officials said, that he didn't get it. While it looked like to me and to the broadcasters and to majority of people on the TV that Josh Allen definitely got across that first down marker, we had a problem with the marking. If you was watching the actual presentation, you see the two referees coming down the mark. One is walking down the line, clearly in front of the first down marker, giving them the first down. The other referee was clearly behind the line, as if Josh Allen didn't gain an inch. Of course, they ruled on the field that he was short. They went to the replay. The replay confirmed. Well, I wouldn't say confirmed, but the replay was unable to overturn the calling on the field. And that led to a lot of conspiracy theorists saying, the NFL wants the Chiefs to win. Now, we could go to that third down play in which Kincaid had a chance, or apparently made the first down, and they marked him about a yard short to set up that fourth down. Number two happened early in the game with the simultaneous catch/interception that was ruled a catch, even though the ball actually hit the ground. And if that was okay, the rule, I think I have the rule on hand, though I didn't have notes. According to the NFL rule book, if a pass is caught simultaneously by two eligible opponents and both players retain it, the ball belongs to the passers, aka the offense. It is not a simultaneous catch if a player gains control first and the opponent subsequently gains joint control. If the ball is muffed after simultaneous touching by two such players, all the players of the passing team became eligible to catch the loose ball. How I interpret that is this: if it's simultaneous catch and the tie goes to the offense, the tie goes to the receiver, that means the receiver has to complete the full action of that catch. Meaning, if that ball hits the ground before that catch is completed, it's an incomplete pass. So how come that happened and they was awarded not only the catch, but the first down, which is first and goal, which in tail led to a touchdown? Now, my point is this. Even though I do believe that they have received the benefit of numerous calls throughout the season. I'm not going to go back to week 2. I'm not even going to go past the divisional round. I personally feel it's actually does injustice to the Chiefs because this shouldn't take away from the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. This shouldn't take away the greatness of Andy Reid. This shouldn't take away the greatness of Travis Kelce. Shouldn't take away the greatness of the franchise that's won 3 out of the last 5 years. And they're going for the first three-peat. But, call a spade a spade. If you look at the 4 remaining teams that we had in the championship round, we had the Commanders, we had the Eagles, we had the Chiefs, we had the Bills. What was going to be the best matchup for Super Bowl 50 whatever? Chiefs and Eagles. The storyline writes itself. You have the Chiefs going for the first ever three-peat. You have Patrick Mahomes trying to get his 4th Super Bowl in 7 years? You have Andy Reid taking another step toward immortality. And then on the other hand, you have the Eagles. Well, they're trying to get revenge from 2 years ago when they coughed up the Super Bowl them damn selves. These controversial plays, these mishaps by the officials, to me, are actually chipping away at the armor, at the greatness that will be looked at during history when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, my friend up here, my newfound friend, Mr. Steve Dunndealz, he's going to Dunndeal my argument by saying that it didn't matter what the officials did. He got a thought of his own. So, Steve, it's on you.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that intro. And Mo, you are the Mojo King for a reason. So I'm not going to deny, and I'm not going to call him a liar. I'm just going to say we were kids and we were playing rough. So we'll leave it at that. As far as the Bills Chiefs, as much as I didn't want the Chiefs to win, they won when it counted most, meaning they won the 4th quarter. You know, if you want to beat the champion, you got to beat them in the last round. You got to knock them out. Don't leave it up to the judges, right? You can't let it be that close of a game. And I feel like the Bills didn't play their best game. The Bills, 4 fumbles, even though they recovered all of them. But right there, you could tell that it was a sloppy game. They let Pat Mahomes run into the end zone untouched 2 times. Untouched. What kind of defense? Do we want to see that kind of defense in the Super Bowl? I don't think so. I was convinced that the Bills are not ready. They're just not ready. And Pat Mahomes is a little bit better than I thought as far as his running game. When he's healthy, listen, he can throw the ball with the best of them, and he can run with the best of them. He just doesn't run as much, and he doesn't need to run with the team that he has and the accuracy he has. Now, do the refs help him a little bit? Maybe. Maybe because he's the face of the NFL. Maybe because the Chiefs and their entourage of famous players and history and the new Swifties on the bandwagon. But let's just call a spade a spade. The Bills were too sloppy to get into that Super Bowl. They didn't do enough to beat the champions. And if you want to go to Super Bowl, like Josh Allen said himself, he said, if you want to be the champ, you got to beat the champions. He said that. And they didn't. Also on with the 2-point conversions. 0 for 2. 0 for 2 on 2-point conversions, and they look horrible doing it. They try to do the push in the end zone, like on a 2-point conversion. That was sloppy. And then he tried to do old school Josh Allen, flicking the ball back like a schoolyard play, like something Mo would do. And I say that the Bills played they played from a tough situation, meaning they played against a superior team, and they made the game look closer than it should have. I think the Chiefs, you can tell during the game as you watch it, that it was just coming a lot easier for the Chiefs. Wide open during the last drive when they had to stop them just to keep the game 29-29 and go into overtime. I mean, the Chiefs just went up there, boom, boom, boom. 1 play, 2 play, 3 plays already in field goal position. And, Butker's going to put it through. and they were comfortable with a field goal. They felt like they could stop them, and they did. They didn't. How many first downs did the Bills get in that last drive? One on a run scramble by Josh Allen, and that's it. And they were done. And then that last play, that really disappointed me. That last play that he chucked it, because that was a chuck. That was a chuck. We call that a chuck, meaning like that was like a Hail Mary, close my eyes, somebody catch the ball. And it obviously ended up, he could have caught that ball, but it was a helicopter pass. If you look at the play, if you were to look back at it, he rolled out towards the traffic where the rush was coming. On it, number 10 behind him on the other side was wide open. He didn't even look that way. He just got rushed so quickly, and that just shows that the Kansas City rush is serious. Chris Jones is a wrecking ball. We know that Chris Jones and the Kansas City Chiefs are not all about Pat Mahomes. They have a great defense, and they shut down Josh Allen and the mighty Bills when they had to.
I will say this. When you talked about Patrick Mahomes going into the end zone those 2 times untouched, that was the frustrating part, especially the last one, because number 5 on the Bills, Elam, had a clean shot at him right around the 1-yard line, and if you look at the replay, he let up. That's what happens when you have a history of getting the favorable call, because the reason why he was untouched, remember the divisional game against the Houston Texans, Mahomes was running, he went to slide, and the 2 Texans hit each other, and they got flagged because they just assumed that they hit Mahomes. And I personally believe, when I'm watching it, are y'all not going to touch this man? But I think they were scared to tackle him because they're like, listen, if we tackle him, we're going to get flagged for 15 yards. But everything else I do agree with, especially Josh Allen. You could tell from that first drive that Josh Allen's nerves had him super amped, because that first drive, he threw 2 interceptions. Kansas City just didn't catch him. And all throughout the game, there was times he's throwing the ball, he's reverting back to that reckless Josh Allen that they thought they had corralled. It's almost like his past failures against Kansas City, especially in these big spots, got into his head, and he thought he had to take it upon himself to win the game. Listen, we could go on and on. Y'all had a great chance, but back to normal. Jets at Jets. Yeah, y'all home just like us. All y'all did was put your bodies in 3 more extra games. But guess what? Y'all don't have a championship, just like we don't have a championship. So yeah, but now I agree with, I'm gonna say 95. Matter of fact, sure, I agree with 100% of what Steve said. But still, at the end of the day, the refs. I know he's gonna cut this out. So the big game is almost here, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last football game of the season with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the big game. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks is also giving away a free pick for the big game, where one of the starting quarterbacks will only need to throw 1 yard to win. If you're correct on at least one more stat projection, you can win real cash. Check out the promo tab to tell any of our Super Sweat Millie winners big game lineups. If you tell a lineup that goes 3 for 3, you could win a split of $1 million in promo funds. Philadelphia versus Kansas City, the big game. Will Saquon Barkley rush for more than 112.5 yards? Will Jalen Hurts pass for more than 215.5 yards? Will Travis Kelce have more than 62.5 yards receiving? Will Xavier Worthy have more than 56.5 receiving yards? Just download the app and use the code CLNS, as Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, secure, and safe. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Remember, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Yes. Oh, you know what? Yeah. Yeah. See, he gave a right on, bro. Power to the picks.
I really like that power to the picks thing. We should use that. Now, let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Kicking it over to you, Steve.
I got to say that the Eagles are ready to dominate again. Jay Daniels is going to be great in the future. He had a nice run. Very inexperienced Redskins team making it to the NFC Championship. You got to give a lot of credit to Jay Daniels and the whole organization. However, the Eagles are serious, and they made a statement. You would say that would be in boxing, that would be a first round knockout. So 32 points. I mean, more than double. 3 rushing touchdowns by the man, Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts with 3 rushing touchdowns as well, showing that they're going to beat you with one of them. So if you stop Barkley, you got to deal with Jalen. If you stop Jalen, you got to deal with Barkley. And then they could throw the ball to A.J. Brown too. I don't think there's too much to say about that game. That game was lopsided so much that it speaks for itself. So I can touch on why I believe that Philadelphia is going to stop the nonsense of the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. The Eagles will dominate the Chiefs in this Super Bowl and get revenge. The Eagles are just the most complete team, okay? The best running back on the Chiefs is Pat Mahomes, the best rusher. So that's 1. 2, Jalen Hurts, even though he doesn't get a lot of credit for being a great quarterback passer, he can make the pass. He made a couple of great throws to A.J. Brown. And don't forget, A.J. Brown is a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver. He has the weapons. Devontae Adams made a super great catch on the sideline to start the game and let the Redskins know we can all play ball, not just Saquon. But Saquon draws so much attention that the Chiefs just won't have enough defense for them because they can't do to Jalen Hurts what they did to the Bills, what they did to Josh Allen. They just can't. Even though the Eagles are a little beat up on the front end, they have a lot of heart, and they're a serious juggernaut. Jalen Hurts can protect the ball. He's not going to make a lot of mistakes, especially when the ground game is going to be up and running. Their defense, I didn't even start talking about their defense. Elite defense. They made the Redskins look like a super inferior team. They didn't even look like a playoff team. And this is a Redskins team that beat up on the Lions. So I expect that the Eagles will surprise everyone and ruin the party for the Swifties and all the bandwagon Chief fans, and that history will not take place and the three-peat will not happen for a while. When you have a guy like Saquon Barkley, who was held back by one of my teams, the New York Giants, yes, they made the biggest mistake in franchise history by letting him go, not giving him the contract that he deserved, putting a franchise tag on him, and prevent him from blossoming and being who we are seeing who he really is. We knew he was special. And this is going to go down in history. This is going to be what Nolan Ryan is to the Mets. This is going to go down in history as what Babe Ruth is to the Red Sox. Saquon will be a Hall of Famer, and he will be holding that Lombardi trophy. And this is just one of the accolades that's going to take him into the Hall of Fame. I'm done. What do you got to say, Mike?
All right. I agree with the Saquon aspect of your conversation. Saquon deserves everything that he's gotten this year and more. And if anything, he's the only person on that wretched Philadelphia Eagles team that I would be rooting for. Longtime listeners and viewers of HGF know my disdain, my distaste, my disgust for Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Eagles. I should say not the city of Philadelphia, because I've only been there a couple times and their cheesesteak was trash, but that's probably because I got it in the wrong place. But Jalen Hurts, he's had an okay season. Yeah, he's been nicked up here, nicked up there, but this is not the same Jalen Hurts that led this team to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. This is a team that, like you said, you've aptly put, has been led by Saquon Barkley, has been on the backs, has been on the legs of Saquon Barkley. AJ Brown did have a coming out party, so to speak, in the championship game. He took that matchup personal between him and Lattimore, because he was just eating Lattimore for lunch. But when it comes to the Eagles, there's no denying the amount of talent that they have. I hate their fan base. Um, I hate their coach. And I know hate is such a strong word, so don't get it misconstrued. I'm talking about sports hate. I don't know that man personally, but Sirianni just has one of those punchable faces. And if he sheds a tear, if he sheds a fake thug tear for the national anthem at this year's Super Bowl, like he did a couple years ago in Arizona, I think this is probably going to be one of the hardest Super Bowls for me to watch. If they end up losing this game, that'll be 2 out of the last 3 years they've got to the Super Bowl, they've lost. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, over the last 3 years, they probably have the most wins, if not second most wins in the league, and that would be the second most wins without a championship in the league. I mean, literally, they won 14 games this year. Last year, they collapsed, but the year before that, they won about another 14 games, and they don't have no championship to show for it. At what point do we have to start looking at the coaching? Now, credit to Nick Sirianni for getting them back to this point, but do you believe it's based on him? To bring everything down, to put a bow tie on it. I'll save my official pick for next week, but I'm really pulling for Saquon because he got done wrong, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my late brother was a big Giants fan. You know what? I don't know how he would feel for Saquon being on the Eagles, but I think he would probably blame the Giants for being asinine and letting him go. So, being the fact he's a former Giant, I guess that's where my allegiance is leaning right now. So, but yeah, I begrudgingly agree with everything that Steve said about the Eagles because, like I said, they're just such an unlikable bunch, scared to death, and then they beat a team. Oh, I'm going to write that down because little do people know behind the scenes in the DMs, this man, I think he's probably like 95% right. 26-21 or 26-22. So I swear, if I listen to this man more, I probably would have my cruise totally paid for instead of a third away paid for.
All right, 26-22. So Steve has Philadelphia and the under right now. Me and Mike Steph will take a little bit more time to figure out what we got going on. It's been a pleasure to have you on, Steve. Is there anything you want to say closing out?
Thank you to both you and Mike Steph for having me. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I'm a big fan of you guys. And I love your takes on football. And I love what you're doing for the football community. And like I said, I've enjoyed it from day one. And you guys have come a long way. And I'm honored to be here.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah, I really do appreciate that. Steve is another brother that I appreciate in so many ways, based on certain posts that he puts up on social media. Things hit you at the right time. Sometimes it could just be benign, like, he probably could just be putting something based on whatever he's going through, and I'll read it. And I'm like, wow, okay, darn, it touches me. It makes me think. It makes me, kind of not even so much reassess, but it kind of just brings things to focus. Hopefully one of these days we can meet up at a Mets game, in which go ahead and chop it up on, face to face, arm to arm, and everything. So, yeah. So, but yeah, I really appreciate that.
All right. Mike, Steph, you're going to take us home. But before you do, I just want to know, since there's so much appreciation going on, do you guys appreciate the chicken?
All because we have a guest don't mean it's off season on the chicken. Just like Daffy Duck is rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season. It's going to be chicken season. I told you, you got about 1 more week. Matter of fact, I think based on our commitments, we got 2 more weeks. You got 2 more weeks of that chicken. But when I say 2025, if I see that chicken, you're so lucky I'm in disarray right now because I don't got my Stitch, I don't got my Cloudy, I don't got my Rubber Ducky, I don't got nobody but me. And I'm keeping it 100 for me. Keep that chicken off my spotlight. That's right, my spotlight. Or Steve is going to take you back in time to the time or whatever happened on that one fateful afternoon in that schoolyard and make you relive whatever happened on that schoolyard. Maybe give another scar. I'm sorry. That was nice. But yeah, you see what's happening? You see what the chicken brings out of me? Okay. Once again, like to thank Steve for joining us on our Super Bowl Primer episode. Next, we will have our official Super Bowl episode in which we'll get a little bit in depth with the injury reports, the point spreads, whatever happens during media day and all that other stuff, even some prop bets. The prop bets gonna be on and popping. So with all that being said, Hidden Gems Football have been a part of 19 Media Group. Goodbye. Yes. Yeah, I knew it was coming.
This is a 19 Media Group presentation.
I am the Mojo King. He is the great Mike Steph. And we are joined by Steve.
Remember, keep the rebuttal short.
Listen, I can't guarantee that.
Mo can guarantee it.
Well,
I know he can. He's trying to aim to chop this down to 25 minutes or less. And he knows I can go for 25 minutes by myself. Okay, yeah. Listen, shoot.
You know me.
You're going to be talking and your red light is going to be off. Mo's going to be like this.